Welcome back to our Fox 10 special, the Sugar Bowl Showdown, joined by one of the most brilliant football minds in our area or across the nation, Phil Savage. Phil, great to see you again.
Joe, I like the Eli Gold suit for today.
Doing what I can for the Sugar Bowl special here. Now, Phil, as you know, is the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. Brought you in today, Phil, for a little bit insight into this big game, kicking off in just under 2 hours here. Alabama versus Ohio State. Everybody here, of course, familiar with Alabama, but not too many people know a lot about these Buckeyes. What can you tell us about them?
Well, these Ohio State Buckeyes are essentially the Florida Gators under Urban Meyer, wrapped in scarlet and gray. Big physical offensive and defensive lines, a lot of speed on the perimeter, and a quarterback named Cardell Jones, 6'5", 250 pounds.
Let's talk a little bit about that quarterback position, because as we know with the Buckeyes, they've had a turbulent time this season, losing a couple of quarterbacks. Where do they stand now with that position?
Yeah, Braxton Miller, two-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, went down during training camp with a shoulder. Then his replacement, J.T. Barrett, goes in for the bulk of the regular season, accounted for a school record and Big Ten record 45 touchdowns, both running and passing. Then he's injured in the Michigan game. So Cardell Jones, 6'5", 250 pounds, he's from Glenville High School in Cleveland. He goes in, finishes up the Michigan game, and then leads Ohio State to a 59-0 shellacking of the Wisconsin Badgers in the Big Ten title game. He's played a game and 1 quarter, essentially, so not a lot to go off of with this player. And Alabama's going to have to defend the deep part of the field because Ohio State has some speed on the perimeter. Devin Smith averages 26.6 yards a catch, has 11 touchdowns on the season, and Ohio State went 4 for 4 on those deep shots in the Wisconsin game. That's what Alabama's really got to defend, probably first and foremost.
Michael Brannon's going to be breaking down the Crimson Tide offense a little bit later in the special. But for that Tide offense, Amari Cooper, Blake Sims, what do they have to contend with against the Ohio State defense?
Well, this is a 4-3 front in the traditional sense of the word. They really rely on the defensive line to control the action. They've got one of the best defensive ends in the country in Joey Bosa, 6'5", 285 pounds, relentless J.J. Watt-like effort in terms of his pass rush, but they also have 2 other defensive tackles, Michael Bennett and Adolphus Washington, that will be in the NFL in the future. So they try to dictate all the action up front and then play pass coverage with their back 7. But this is a defense, Joe, that has given up 140 yards a game on the ground throughout the season. Here's a stat for you. Bama is 69-2 under Nick Saban when they rush for 140 or more yards. So that's a pivotal stat to look for tonight.
All right, so let's talk about Bama then. What are some keys to the game for the Crimson Tide to win this first semifinal and move on to that championship game?
You know, I think from an offensive standpoint, Alabama has to get the football into their playmakers, meaning Amari Cooper. We don't know exactly how Ohio State will try to defend and take him out of the game, but Bama has been sensational this year, being able to feature him as a receiver. So Amari Cooper's got to get his minimum 9 or 10 touches. The running game has got to be there for the Tide, not necessarily at the very beginning, but certainly in the second half, because this Ohio State offense could be challenged against the Alabama defense. So if Alabama could jump out to a lead, they can throw to get the lead and then run the ball to close out the game.
And then lastly, Phil, win or lose tonight, not the last chance to see some of these Bama Senior Bowls. The Senior Bowl is coming up. Who from the Tide will be making an appearance here in Mobile?
Well, Blake Sims earned an invite. He was not even on our watch list in August, and now he's the second-team All-SEC quarterback, broke virtually every school record for a single season, MVP of the SEC title game. So Blake Sims is invited, and then one of our local products, Justin Fowler, the fullback, running back, H-back, Swiss Army knife type player for Alabama from Viger High School. He will be here as well.
All right, Phil Savage, Executive Director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. Thanks so much for stopping by our Sugar Bowl Showdown special. Appreciate it.